October 1st, 2012. About 6 months after I got clean, and prior to this date, I had actually landed an interview with one of the top US airline carriers. It was a group interview. There was like 20 of us interviewing. And I guess I did really well because I got a call back um, to start a job there. It was a temporary status job, and the way that it worked is I was put into this temporary pool of candidates, and then I had 6 months to find a job. I was placed at one of their maintenance facilities, kind of doing like some data entry work that required a lot of walking each day. And at this point, I was still living in the women's shelter, and I did share that with my colleagues, but they didn't necessarily know why. And I remember that I had these shoes on that were giving me horrible blisters. And so I'd asked them for some Band-Aids to help with the blisters. I remember the next day coming into work, they had brought so many pairs of brand new shoes for me to pick from, all sizes, because they knew that I was living in a women's shelter. I had not gotten my first paycheck yet, and they wanted me to be successful. So I was just like really overwhelmed by their generosity. I was able to pick out a pair of shoes, just regular old tennis shoes. Um, Obviously, I didn't get any blisters after that, but I had really connected with my coworkers. In order to work at a maintenance facility, you have to be able to pass a background check. And while I didn't have any convictions on my record, my arrest from earlier that year and the prior year came back to haunt me. Corporate office had called and told them that they needed to lock me out. And all of my coworkers actually rallied behind me. They asked them to let me complete my day so I could get a full work's pay. And then they walked me out. But everyone had a really good feedback about me being such a hard worker that I actually got a second chance. They called me into headquarters, they talked with me, and I explained more about my background, that I was living in a women's shelter, my past was a little shady, but I promised them that I was going to do a good job. And so they gave me a second chance, gave me a temporary position at headquarters where I did not require a background clearance. And I was doing a data entry position. During that time, you're interviewing for the different positions that you can apply for within the company. And on November 1st, 2012, I was hired as a permanent employee. My first job there was really data entry and kind of working in the mailroom. I would scan correspondence that people would write into our system. It was a really entry level position. I was making $11 an hour, and I was just really thankful to have a job with great benefits. But I never settle for what I have. And so I made sure, even though I was just doing data entry and scanning a mail in, that I was always going above and beyond. In fact, when I was in the mailroom, I came up with a brand new process that reduced the processing time by 30%. And so at that time, my manager started picking up on how hard of a worker I was and how much thought went into that, and eventually gave me an opportunity that gave me visibility into other departments in the company. They allowed me to handle escalations for the department, which means, all of the customers that are really pissed off, those are the ones that I got to talk to. It was for lost baggage. And of course, when we lose someone's baggage, they're never happy. I would not be happy if you lost my baggage when I went on a trip. So I was talking to the most upset customers, but I was doing a really good job. In fact, I had several customers that came back. Even if we never found their luggage, they would write a complimentary letter about me. I remember one customer in particular that I helped. Of course, I went above and beyond. We never found their bag. And I had originally gotten the escalation because they had written the CEO of the company. After I got done handling their claim and did everything that I could for them, they went back to the CEO and wrote them a complimentary letter telling him that I never found their baggage, but I still took care of them. And I remember the day that our CEO emailed me personally to thank me for my great customer service. It was through that job that I was nominated for an award. I ended up winning the quarterly award and then the annual award. And when I won the annual award, I won $10,000. Life-changing money, because now these traffic tickets that I had gotten when I was in my addiction and my license was suspended, I was able to pay all of that off and get my license back. Some of you may choose to say that I'm just really lucky and got put into some lucky positions. I believe in God, and I choose to say that it was God that put me there. But it was myself and my determination that elevated these chances that I was given in life to the next level. And so I made sure that each job that I got within the company, I did not only the best that I could, but even better than the best that I could. Because I knew there was always someone watching. And it helped to propel my career in a way that I never expected, to where now I'm a senior project manager in the IT department. So in my recent position, I was hired, and it was a lateral move with the promise of being able to get promoted within the next year if I did a good job. Well, I think that I did a great job. My manager was also really happy with my work. And then the pandemic hit. People were losing their jobs left and right. They let probably up to 35-40% of the IT department go. Luckily, my job was saved. And on December 19th, 2020, so just a few months ago, I was promoted to the next level at the company within my current position and got a life-changing raise. Life-changing. For the first time in my life, I'm not living paycheck to paycheck and wondering if I'll have enough money to buy groceries or to pay rent. It's the most comforting feeling in the world to not be living paycheck to paycheck. But it took a lot of hard work and dedication and over 8 years to get there. The great thing about the company that I work for is that you're given the opportunity to move up as far as you want to, as long as you have the willpower, right? And the skills to do that. I have no formal degree. I barely graduated from high school after dropping out my senior year. I have maybe a half a credit in college, and that's it. But really, it was me working in the mailroom and making the best out of that situation and having a manager that believed in me to be able to ping pong myself up throughout the company and help create my own success. I mentioned I have no formal degree, which is true. But recently, I was able to take a class that I paid for myself, $500, 2 days of training. I'm now a certified Scrum Master, and that role in my area pays a 6-figure salary without a college degree. You just need the experience, and you need the certification. It was my hard work, my determination, and having people that believed in me and the work that I put out that was able to get me where I am today. And again, you may say there was some luck involved. Sure, I say God, but either way, I was presented these opportunities, and then I took them and ran with them and made them into so much more. You can do the same thing. I really feel like that I have beat all of the odds in statistics. I sometimes go back and Google some of the people that I used to hang out with or know. And honestly, it's really sad. The way that I've been following them is I pop their name into Google and look at the last time they've been arrested. Because that's usually what pops up on the search results. I don't know a single other person that I used to be good friends with or hang out with in the drug circle that haven't either died, gone to prison, or are still in their addiction. You know, in 2018, there was over 20 million people over the age of 12 living with a substance use disorder. 9.2 million of those people have a substance use disorder coexisting with a mental health disorder. And the reason that I find that statistic so important is because so many of these people are self-medicating instead of seeking the medical care that they need. And that's another problem that's in our country, but we won't touch on that today. Since 2000, over 700,000 Americans have died from a drug overdose. I don't want you to become that statistic. I want you guys to stay tuned because I think that what you're thinking is, oh, great. She's this big success story. This is it. This is the end. This is her life now. But at the beginning of this year, my entire life and world fell apart. My entire world came crashing down. So in my next video, I'm going to take you back in time for a moment before telling you my whole reason for starting to share my story. Because the last thing that I want for anyone is to have to experience pain that I've experienced this year. My name's Amanda. My hope is that through sharing my story, you'll find that life that's waiting for you on the other side.